Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. So today I just want to do a real quick video about mild steel tooling. So I've done a video like this in the past about mild steel tooling and kind of caught some flack one way or the other about my suggestion is mild steel tooling is a good steel, just using mild steel to actually make tools out of. And I kind of want to just illustrate a point of the reason why I think mild steel is a great option for most beginners and things like that to start your tooling out with, and even professional shops. So much of the tooling I make in my shop is expendable. That means I need to make it for a particular job, I get the job done, and then I don't care to have the tooling anymore. And so therefore that mild steel tooling, it's costed out with the job and my labor's paid for it, and so we're good to go. There is a lot of mild steel tooling, or there's a lot of tooling where I want to keep it around for a very long time, or I only want to really have the hassle of making it once. Kind of like punches or chisels or things like that you're going to use on the daily, and you're going to use it across multiple jobs. In which case, you want to pick a higher carbon tool steel to take and do that with. Maybe look along the lines, I like 10 series steels, so like 1045s, 1095s, 1080, stuff like that. I love that type of tool steel. Some would say that that's not a tool steel, it's just a high carbon steel, whatever, you can put whatever jargon on it that you like. But I particularly like those because they're tough, they're not brittle. I like the toughness of them, I don't like brittle tooling. Now, I'm fairly abusive to a lot of my tooling, and I know that, right off the gate, and so therefore I don't invest a lot of time into tooling. Now there's guys out there that they just make beautiful tools and they will last you centuries, and I suggest you, if they sell tools, buy tools from those guys, because you're just going to buy one, you're going to buy once, cry once, and you never have to worry about it again. But so much in my shop I have to take and find ways of, I guess it's not really cutting costs, it's just saving efficiency, time. It's a one-off tool that I'm never going to use again. But in certain cases, mild steel will be just as good of a tool as any sort of tool steel, depending on what it is that you're taking and doing with it. Now obviously you can't use mild steel to cut off cold bar stock. That's not going to happen for you, right? You can't cut cold metal with other cold metal. They're both going to deform when they're both the same type of metal. That's going to be true even with tool steel. So, obviously that doesn't make logical sense. But stuff like this rivet set, I just got done doing a class. And by the way, anybody who was interested in that tongue class that I did, it went off great. Most people came out with a good set of good looking set of tongs. Some of them were a lot closer to the beginner level. Some of them had never swung a hammer before and things like that. And so, they didn't leave with as many pairs or this or that, but that was to be expected. But all day was this tool used that I just made, and I made these out of mild steel. And I made these for my air tooling, and you'll see videos on this coming up, or you have already seen videos. And I'm going to try to get you guys focused in on these so this way you can see what I'm talking about. But these were used all day, and these tools are pretty hot at that time because everybody was going and riveting all at the same time. And if I would have to count, I would assume there was probably at least 25, this scene probably at least 25, well no more than that, it seemed close to about 40 pairs of tongs, about 40 rivets anyhow, is what this thing has seen. And there's not a scratch, not a blemish, not a thing on it. And these are mild steel. These are mild steel. This shank is a high carbon tool steel bit that's just a regular air thing. Like I said, I've already got a video on that. This block here, this rivet block, there should already be a video released about it, how I forged this. But this is just a piece of mild steel. And there is no deformation. There's not even a shiny spot on this. So you could tell by taking a hot piece of material, putting in a cold piece of mild steel tooling, you can do a lot of shaping. Now, had I had to take and go through the process, I probably wouldn't have had these done if I had to forge these 100% from scratch out of a high carbon steel piece of tooling, or tool steel, if you will. Okay, and so I probably wouldn't have had the time to take and get these done, but I need these done for class just to make the process a little easier, so this way everybody could come away with some nice looking rivets and things going through their tongs. I only had one regular hand set I made out of some stainless steel. And once again, it's not even a high carbon, it's not even a high tool steel stainless steel. It was just regular stainless steel, and it's tough. I don't even know what the makeup is of the stainless, but it's tougher than mild steel even yet. So I hope this will help inspire some of you beginners out there. That's what the real point of this whole video is. If you've made it this far and you haven't already given me a thumb down and bashed me in the comment section for it. This whole video is to take and talk specifically to the guys that don't have a lot of this stuff right here. You know, you can't go out and just buy, 200 foot of, L6 or H13 or, you can't afford buying large cross sections of 1095 and things, and you don't have a super huge power hammer that you can draw stuff down and resize stock and things like that. You can get by with mild steel. This whole thing, not including this bit, or, I can't figure out what that was. I bought the expensive brand of this. That's not needed. But this whole end here, just this rivet set, say you didn't even have the air riveter, but say you just had this portion of it as a top tool to hold and hammer, and you just bought this, there's like 20 cents. Maybe 25 cents worth of steel here, of just regular mild steel, as opposed to the cost of something. If this was H13 material, I mean, you might be looking at 20 bucks worth of steel. So when you're just getting started and you're not that great at making tools in the first place and you're just learning, but you need to make some tools so you can make other tools, so you can make better tools along the way, don't shy away from experimenting with some different materials to try to make some tools. You don't always have to have leaf spring. You don't always have to have coil spring. You don't always have to have, the best of the best in order to take and make some tools for the project you're working on. The point is for you to learn what works and what doesn't work with that type of tooling, and then apply that to, once you do have the money and the funds to buy the really fancy steels and make those tools that last a lifetime. You can take and forge a really ugly looking tool out of mild steel, and you can do the same make a really ugly tool out of, S7. You can make a really ugly looking tool just the same. So beyond your basic kit setup, like your punches and chisels, which you can make out of car coil springs, very easily, very accessible. Everybody can find a car coil spring. If you claim that you can't, you haven't looked under your own car yet, there's a car coil spring underneath there. Maybe just make an excuse to replace the springs on your vehicle, and then boom, you've got loads of spring steel. I wouldn't suggest that. That's probably the most expensive option. You'd be better off just buying spring steel. But again, beyond the punches and the chisels that you're going to use on the daily and things like that, make your other tool, make your other tools, your experimental tools, your things like that, out of mild steel first. Get a rough draft, get all the cruddy forging out of the way, and kind of say, okay, now I know how I'm going to do this differently, before you take and throw a very expensive piece of tool steel in the fire and just ruin it. And give yourself the time to learn things like hardening and tempering and whole heat treatment cycles and things like that. Give yourself the time to progress to that point. Anyways, that's it for this video. I hope that encourages some beginner smith out there. I'm sure you guys need that, and a little bit of encouragement. If you did, leave that like button and let me know in the comment section down below. And like I always say, God bless you, and thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.